Hey guys, today I'll show you a science fiction thriller TV series named Invasion, Season 2. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The drama begins with alien creatures that have attacked Earth, and in just 4 months, several countries have fallen. The frantic residents of Osaka never imagined the alien disaster would arrive so suddenly. These creatures are incredibly fast and can extend sharp spikes to deliver a fatal blow. Without military protection, ordinary citizens are left at their mercy. Scientist Yamato seems to have some knowledge of these creatures. After directing everyone to a safe area, she quickly lights a match. A prearranged line of cars bursts into flames, creating a fiery barrier that temporarily halts the creature's pursuit. Unfortunately, it isn't long before the alien monsters begin swarming from all directions. Yamato continuously throws homemade Molotov cocktails. Although the aliens fear fire, it is a futile effort against their overwhelming numbers. As more and more residents fall, Yamato grows desperate, unable to think of a better solution. Just then, a helicopter descends from the sky and 2 men jump out. Yamato assumes they are from the World Defense Coalition, there to rescue the refugees. However, the 2 men grab Yamato and force her sexy body into the helicopter. Seeing the logo on the aircraft, she realizes they are a private military force from the Dharma Tech Corporation. A wave of anger washes over her. She still needs to save the refugees. The lead man quickly explains that millions of people are dying across the globe every day, and one person can only save so many. He tells her that the place they are going will help humanity defeat the aliens, which is the only way to save everyone. Yamato naturally understands the logic, and though she feels some resistance, she gradually stops struggling. Soon, she's on a private jet. After a journey that takes her nearly halfway around the world, the lead man wakes her. They have arrived at their destination. Peeking out the window, a colossal alien ship comes into view, and Yamato's gaze becomes distant. Following the men in black through a tropical rainforest, she arrives at a secret research facility. The director Nikhil personally greets her, his face beaming with excitement. This facility is dedicated to studying the alien ship, but after months of work, they have made no progress. It took them a great deal of effort to find Yamato in Japan. Turns out, it was the code she wrote that allowed the coalition forces to breach the alien ship's defenses and shoot it down previously, humanity's only victory to date. Nikhil is convinced that Yamato has a special ability to communicate with the aliens and hopes she will join their research. Yamato, however, is dismissive, asking what they could possibly discover from this wreck. Nikhil smiles knowingly, telling her the ship is far more incredible than she can imagine and that she'll understand once she goes inside. Yamato's eyes light up with interest. Nikhil quickly adds that before she can enter, she must pass a series of tests. A researcher at the facility skillfully connects an EEG to Yamato's head. She will then be asked a series of questions to analyze her mental state. Although Yamato doesn't understand what this has to do with entering the ship, she cooperates enthusiastically. But when a picture of her girlfriend appears on the screen, she becomes extremely agitated, ripping off the sensors and storming out of the room. The researcher, Maya, immediately reports to Nikhil, stating that Yamato is not suitable to enter the alien ship because she is prone to extreme emotional reactions. Nikhil sighs and shakes his head, explaining that they are running out of time. His company, Dharma Tech, fought hard to win the right to study the ship from the World Defense Coalition, but they have achieved nothing. With more cities falling and the global climate being altered by the aliens, the head of the World Defense Coalition has warned Nikhil that if his research continues to yield no results, they will revoke his access to the ship. And so, Yamato becomes the first person ever to enter the alien ship without passing the required tests. Gazing at the dark entrance, her eyes are filled with anticipation as she slowly walks along the man-made walkway. Maya explains that the ship's walls contain a vast network of neural pathways, making the vessel behave like a controllable limb. Of course, its wonders extend far beyond that. The two talk as they walk, soon arriving at the monitoring room the company has set up. Maya explains that at the ship's core is a massive energy entity, with a footprint larger than the former landmass of Canada. They speculate it is the ship's control center and possesses a high level of intelligence. Due to severe signal interference, they know very little about it and can only rely on sending people in to explore. Unfortunately, every researcher who has entered has suffered neurological damage, resulting in memory loss. This is why they needed to perform the psychological test on Yamato. Yamato, however, nods nonchalantly, willing to risk even her life to uncover the alien's secrets. After putting on a heavily protected helmet, Yamato walks into the chamber containing the alien energy entity. Maya converts the content they need to communicate into different frequencies and loads them onto Yamato's wrist device. Now, it all depends on Yamato's performance. The alien entity's reaction is extraordinary. It proactively extends a circular orb of light, seemingly wanting to make intimate contact with Yamato, only to retract at the last moment. In the control room, Nikhil is incredibly excited and tells Yamato to try a different frequency. In response, the energy orb emits a joyful, musical sound. Sensing no malice from the entity, Yamato closes her eyes and allows the orb of light to slowly approach her. While these elite individuals are busy exploring alien mysteries, ordinary people are struggling to survive on the brink of life and death. A little girl asks endless questions to distract a gas station owner while her older brother loots the adjacent supply room. Outside, their mother, Anisha, siphons gasoline, but the owner is not so easily fooled. He instinctively looks up and sees the furtive figure outside, immediately grabbing his gun and heading out. Seeing their plan has been exposed, the little girl tries to run out and lock the door behind him. Anisha, having just finished filling up, opens the car doors. Once her children are inside, she speeds away. After confirming the owner isn't chasing them, Anisha scolds her son for not running out at the agreed-upon time. The rebellious Luke pulls out the spoils from his backpack, arguing that they are essential tools for their survival and were worth the risk. Soon, they arrive at an abandoned home. Luke says he is tired of being on the run and suggests they stay and live there for a while. But his mother believes the farther they run, the better. Any city inhabited by humans will eventually be attacked by aliens. Besides, other human survivors can be just as dangerous as the aliens. After all, the children's father was killed by other survivors. But Luke is fed up with Anisha's authoritarian ways and threatens her with the black metallic object from his backpack. Anisha seems to place great importance on this object and nearly gets into a fight with him over it. Finally, the daughter speaks up, declaring she will follow her mother anywhere, which makes Luke relent. The family sets off by car once again. Before long, they reach a small settlement. Anisha decides to get out and look for supplies, telling her two children to stay in the car after seeing a group of soldiers gathered nearby. But Luke is not one to listen. Seeing a large supply of gasoline in a military truck, he gets an idea. Confirming the soldiers have walked away, Luke gets out and quietly approaches the truck. By the time Anisha emerges from a small house, Luke is already preparing to steal the gasoline. She can only pray for his safe return. Unfortunately, her prayers go unanswered. A soldier returning from the restroom spots Luke, and the other soldiers quickly surround them. Anisha pulls out her pistol and, forcing herself to remain calm, runs over, pretending to explain that her son is just a disobedient child who made a mistake. But these soldiers are out hunting for insurgents. In the next moment, they find Anisha's weapon, and then someone discovers the black metallic object in the backpack. When their scanner detects it is of alien origin, the lead soldier becomes tense. A check of the network database reveals that Anisha is a wanted fugitive. The officer decides to take the family back to their camp. Once in the back of the truck, they discover another man, handcuffed. Clearly, he's no saint either. Anisha tells her children not to talk to strangers, but the man introduces himself as Clark, claiming he has never done anything against his conscience. Just then, the driver spots an injured girl lying in the middle of the road. The soldiers get out to investigate without hesitation, only to be ambushed by a large group of armed fighters emerging from the woods. It was a well-planned ambush, and the unprepared soldiers are quickly subdued. Hearing a knock on the truck door, Clark tells Anisha and her family to cover their ears. A moment later, a powerful explosion blasts the door lock open. Clark casually steps out. It turns out he orchestrated the entire ambush. Anisha speaks up, reminding him not to forget the backpack the soldiers took. He nods, tells his men to destroy the vehicle and take the weapons, but to spare the soldiers' lives, as they all share a common enemy. It is revealed that Clark is the leader of a resistance movement. They disagree with the World Defense Coalition's methods and have formed their own armed force, hoping to protect themselves during the alien invasion. As night falls, Clark brings Anisha and her family to a hidden base. To their surprise, they are offered hot chocolate milk, a comfort far greater than anything Anisha has found on the road. She had planned to take her backpack and leave immediately, but Clark tells her that being a loner isn't necessarily safe. Only by sticking together is there hope for survival. That night, as Yamato attempts to establish contact with the energy entity in the alien ship, the black metallic object in Anisha's possession, for reasons unknown, also begins to stir slowly. Alien civilizations have invaded Earth, and within a few short months, human cities have fallen one after another. The schoolgirl, Jamila, stands on a dilapidated street, looking up at the blood-red moon in the sky. After coalition soldiers set fire to the vast amounts of toxic spores released by the aliens, the entire atmosphere has become polluted. She doesn't know how much longer humanity can survive in such an environment. Her only hope is her classmate, Casper. Jamila once witnessed him connect with the alien creatures, even commanding them to stop their attack. Although Casper was severely injured and fell into a coma as a result, Jamila firmly believes he is the only one on Earth who can stop the aliens. Her mother, however, thinks Jamila is delusional. If the World Defense Coalition can't handle the aliens, how could a single child possibly make a difference? She thinks her time would be better spent helping her save more patients. Fortunately, Jamila's family lives in a mountain village far from the city and has so far been spared from the alien attacks. But the leaflets that are occasionally airdropped remind her that all of humanity is on the brink. Several of the country's largest cities are marked in red, the highest danger level, leaving very few areas suitable for human survival. When Jamila returns home, she finds the front door has been pried open. She grabs a shovel and approaches quietly, only to find a bearded old man stealing food. It turns out he fled from London and was trying to find something for his children to eat. A pang of sadness hits Jamila, and she silently turns and leaves. The next morning, her mother finds a letter Jamila left on her bed. She doesn't want to wait for the end of the world in the comfort of her home. She is going to find her extraordinary companion, Casper. She remains convinced that this is the only way to save the Earth. Even if she fails in the end, Jamila will have no regrets because she will have fought for what she believes in. Of course, she isn't the only one with such conviction. Meanwhile, Captain Trevathan is at a family gathering in his yard. He looks up at the alien ship hanging in the sky, then at his friends and family enjoying themselves around him. It feels utterly surreal, like a real-life version of burying one's head in the sand. Suddenly, a child falls into the deep end of the swimming pool. Trevathan leaps into the water in a single bound and quickly pulls the child to safety. After some emergency first aid, the child finally wakes up. Trevathan begins yelling as if reprimanding one of his soldiers, shouting about why they acted alone, only realizing his outburst was out of place when others remind him. A few months ago, when the aliens first invaded, the squad Trevathan led was nearly wiped out in their very first encounter. In the end, he was the only one to survive. After managing to hold on until an alien ship was destroyed by a nuclear bomb, a disheartened Trevathan chose to retire. But it wasn't long before another alien ship appeared, plunging the Earth into an unprecedented crisis once more. Trevathan thinks of his fallen comrades, and his sense of injustice grows stronger. He drives to the city center, to an internet cafe controlled by the military. There, he silently opens a computer and picks up a sketchbook. It was left behind by Casper, the boy who could communicate with aliens. Back then, Casper often had strange visions and recorded them all in this book. Trevathan is convinced it holds secrets about the aliens. His wife is very understanding and has long sensed Trevathan's unresolved feelings. She can see it in the way he stares at the sky. Not wanting their family to be a burden on her husband, she encourages him to go and do what he feels he must, wishing him luck in finding the answers he seeks. Trevathan is deeply moved, and so he starts visiting the internet cafe even more frequently. One day, he finally finds a match for a spiral pattern from a page in the sketchbook. The same pattern had once appeared in a cornfield in Idabel County. Trevathan's eyes light up and he sets out by car that very night. Like the young girl Jamila, he too is driven by a sense of unresolved purpose and hope. By now, Jamila has reached the nearest city. It is just as she imagined, desolate everywhere, the air thick with the pungent smell of burnt spores, and the streets littered with bodies that have yet to be cleared. Jamila looks at the walls covered with missing person flyers, her heart heavy, as each piece of paper represents a broken family. Just then, a police car speeds towards her. An officer tells her the air is toxic and unsafe. Jamila tries to explain she is just passing through, but the officer is determined to take her to a shelter, no questions asked. Jamila refuses and runs, darting through the streets and alleys. She finally hides in a building covered in alien spores, and only then do the pursuing police stop. They shout from outside that it's toxic and tell her to come out. When Jamila remains silent, they leave a gas mask for her and quickly depart. Sensing they are gone, Jamila quietly emerges from the building, picks up the mask and looks up at the sky. The exceptionally bright blood-red moon strengthens her resolve to find Casper. Soon, she arrives at the city's central hospital. When Casper last controlled the aliens, he was in terrible condition, and she doesn't know if he is dead or alive. Fortunately, his name is not registered in the morgue. Jamila breathes a sigh of relief and walks into the records room. To her surprise, some of Casper's personal belongings are still there. The contents of a cassette tape bring back memories of her incredible experiences with him. After composing herself, she begins searching the database on a computer. She soon confirms that Casper has been transferred to St. Paul Hospital in Paris. Meanwhile, Trevathan has reached the edge of Idabel County only to find that the military has set up a checkpoint, prohibiting anyone from entering. Trevathan is puzzled but pretends to be an ordinary traveler. Unfortunately, the soldiers are tight-lipped, and he can't get any information out of them. It seems that Idabel County truly is hiding some unspeakable secret. Trevathan pulls out his long-kept military uniform. Under the cover of night, he finds an unguarded section of the security fence, leaps over it, and slips past the blockade into Idabel County. At first glance, the area seems unremarkable with lights on in every house, but the streets are teeming with soldiers. It seems Trevathan's suspicions were correct. Something unusual is definitely happening here. To solve the mystery, he strides to the military camp. After identifying himself, he claims to be a reinforcement who was delayed after an encounter with aliens. The guard at the gate doesn't suspect a thing and tells him to go find the lieutenant to report in, but Trevathan is not so honest. Using the excuse of needing the restroom, he slips out of the office and heads straight for a prominent tent. Opening the flap, Trevathan's eyes widen in disbelief. The tent is filled with countless jars and containers, holding plants he has never seen before, likely related to the alien creatures. As Trevathan stares, mesmerized, a creature in one of the jars suddenly moves, startling him and causing him to stumble backward. The noise quickly attracts a nearby guard. Trevathan claims he got lost, but the soldier has already discovered that Trevathan is not part of the dispatched reinforcements. The outcome is predictable. He is taken by the soldiers to the town's police station. Trevathan worries about the sketchbook in his bag, but the police officer reassures him, telling him not to worry and that a car will pick him up in the morning to take him out of Idabel County, at which point all his belongings will be returned. Trevathan feels a deep sense of frustration. He came here to save the world, only to find he can't even guarantee his own safety. Meanwhile, Jamila has arrived at the city's largest survivor camp. She plans to see her old friends one last time before heading to Paris. When they finally find each other in the vast crowd, everyone is overjoyed. But when they learn that Jamila is going to Paris, her two friends stare in disbelief. Not only is the distance vast, but she will also have to cross several dangerous zones. Yet Jamila's resolve is unshakable. She explains that she often dreams of the comatose Casper and feels as if he is calling to her. The boy is puzzled, arguing that if Casper were that important, the World Defense Coalition would have already taken action. Jamila disagrees, wondering what would happen if they forced Casper to do something he didn't want to do. That's why she plans to go by herself. Perhaps Casper desperately needs her help. Her two friends are moved and decide to accompany Jamila to Paris. The three children look at each other and smile, unable to contain their excitement. They wait for nightfall, pack their gear, and set out, planning to first find a car. While searching for keys, they accidentally trigger a car alarm, and the two owners of the house quickly run out. Jamila and her friends are terrified, but after seeing who it is, they all breathe a sigh of relief. It turns out the son of the family, Monty, is also one of their classmates. His parents went on vacation and never came back. Jamila believes it's not safe here and that they should go to the survivor camp, but the little girl worries, asking what will happen if her parents return and can't find them. Just then, the roar of an airplane is heard outside. The little girl huddles in a corner, covering her head and praying for the danger to pass quickly. Jamila and her friends look at the siblings with a heavy heart, unable to imagine how they have survived all this time. But when the little girl learns that Jamila's group is on a mission to save the world, she declares that she wants to go with them. It turns out she has always dreamed of being a hero and has even prepared a map and a first aid kit. Jamila is inclined to refuse, but the condition the little girl proposes is one none of them can ignore. Her brother Monty knows how to drive. The three of them look at each other. None of them have ever learned to drive. The next morning, 5 children determined to save the world set off in a luxury car, though Monty's driving skills are somewhat concerning. The scene shifts to the research lab studying the alien ship. The scientist, Yamato, stares intently at the alien energy entity. She has a persistent feeling that it is trying to convey some kind of message. Unfortunately, her allotted time is about to run out, and Yamato can only turn and leave reluctantly. The computer screen records various signals with frequencies that are unremarkable as usual. The only anomaly is a recurring signal spike. A data analyst explains that its appearance is irregular. Sometimes it occurs every few hours, while other times it takes days. Yamato's eyes narrow. She believes this signal is significant. The health specialist, Maya, calls her to the medical bay for a routine psychological evaluation, but Yamato insists she's fine. She explains that when she was facing the entity, she was simply trying her best to establish a connection and peer into its mind. Maya is unfazed by this, remarking that every scientist says the same thing when they first encounter the entity, but their fates have all been tragic. Unconvinced, Yamato walks to the adjacent infirmary, where she sees numerous scientists sitting with vacant expressions. She even recognizes one of them as a Nobel laureate in physics. Her heart sinks, and she decides to return to her room to clear her head. On her way through a corridor, she happens to see one of the alien ship's tendrils merge with the air and disappear. Her eyes widen in disbelief. She rushes to the control room and asks a researcher what she just did. The researcher explains she was just running data analysis. Yamato asks her to repeat the action, then turns and goes back to the corridor. When the researcher adjusts the transmission frequency to 90, the tendril vanishes right before their eyes. Yamato finds it incredible. It's clear that the alien creatures communicate entirely through specific frequency bands. As she walks out of the research lab, she notices sand on the ground has formed a distinct pattern due to the frequency vibrations, and even the birds in the sky are affected. An idea strikes Yamato. She believes the alien ship is constantly sending signals to the outside world. Pulling up past frequency records, she notices that the waveform curves are always very similar. Yamato concludes that the alien ship is sending a distress signal to its mothership. Based on this pattern, she predicts the next signal will appear at 5:32 a.m. The two researchers are still trying to catch up, asking what good it does even if they've found a pattern. With a fierce look in her eyes, Yamato declares her intention to use the signal to hack into the alien mothership. Late at night, Maya comes to persuade Yamato to rest, telling her that her health is more important. Every scientist before her believed they could understand the alien ship, only to delve too deep and lose themselves. But Yamato believes she is different. Her lover was killed by the aliens, and the hatred in her heart compels her to find a way to fight back. Just then, a researcher calls out, reminding them that it's only a few seconds until 5:32 a.m. Sure enough, as the clock strikes the time, the special signal spike appears again. Everyone is overcome with excitement. The research facility's director, Nikhil, is immediately informed of the good news. However, he argues that the signal from the ship isn't necessarily a distress call. Otherwise, aliens would have already attacked their base. Yamato has her own theory. Perhaps the mothership doesn't see the need to go to great lengths to rescue a single damaged vessel. Nikhil smiles, admitting that Yamato's plan to invade the mothership is crazy, but he loves it. Alien creatures are attacking all over the globe, appearing without warning. It's clear they are being dropped from a cloaked alien ship in the sky. If they can hack the mothership, simulate a specific wave band to break its cloaking, a single volley of nuclear missiles would be enough to cripple the alien invaders. Health specialist Maya is worried. The alien ship is larger than a small city. If they destroy it, how many innocent people would be killed? Nikhil is unconcerned. Compared to defeating the aliens, such casualties are a small price to pay. Besides, humanity doesn't have many cities left to lose. The head of the World Defense Coalition is shocked when she first hears the plan, but after a moment of thought, she readily agrees. Her task now is to mobilize the world's nuclear arsenal. Yamato chimes in, stating that the next signal spike is at 9:42 a.m. the next morning. She can force all alien ships to decloak, but only for a maximum of 30 minutes, so they must be ready to lock on. Meanwhile, Anisha and her family have spent a night resting at the resistance base. Her son, Luke, is curious about many things there. He has long grown tired of wandering with his mother. Suddenly, Anisha runs over and tells him to pack his things immediately, as they will be leaving soon to continue their journey. The resistance leader, Clark, can't help but ask if she ever lets her guard down, and if living like this isn't exhausting. Anisha sees it as a matter of course, stating that their family has survived this long precisely because they are vigilant. Elsewhere, Trevathan, locked in the Idabel County Jail, is about to go mad. There hasn't even been a single officer on duty all night. The sheriff's assistant, Rose, who has just arrived for her shift, explains that they are short-staffed due to the alien invasion. Just as she finishes speaking, she answers a phone call from a resident inquiring about a missing relative. Rose is helpless. Although their town hasn't been attacked since the invasion began, residents have been disappearing one after another. Trevathan looks at the wall covered in missing person flyers and falls into deep thought. This town is indeed unusual. Rose then finds the sheriff, who has just arrived, and urges him to find the missing people. He keeps saying he'll do his best, then goes to fix the coffee machine that broke yesterday. Rose returns to her seat dejected. She quit her job at a store months ago to work at the police station, hoping to find the missing residents, but has had no success. Trevathan says he might be able to help. Rose has long lost faith in the military. Although many troops are stationed here, they've either taken over the town's school as their base or converted the library into a lab, showing no concern for the missing people. Rose has marked the date of disappearance for every person on the wall because to her, they are all individual lives that have vanished. Trevathan suddenly stares wide-eyed at the flyers. His voice becomes urgent as he tells Rose to get the sketchbook from the evidence locker. He might be able to help find the missing residents. Rose is skeptical but retrieves the sketchbook. Following Trevathan's instructions, she turns to the page with the circle. The outer ring is marked with many sets of numbers, which perfectly match the dates the townspeople went missing. Meanwhile, the head of the World Defense Coalition is convening with world leaders to prepare the nuclear strike. One leader is deeply worried, concerned that a missile might fall on his own country. The coalition leader, exasperated, can only order that all nukes must be detonated in the air whether they hit their target or not. Back at the Research Institute, Yamato has also completed her preparations. Once the time comes, she is confident she can reveal all the hidden ships. Anisha and her family are now traveling with the Resistance, heading to the next shelter. Unexpectedly, they receive a distress call mid-journey about a family trapped by alien creatures in a valley. Clark immediately decides to take a group to rescue them. Anisha wants to object, but she has no say in the matter. After scouting and finding only 3 alien creatures in the valley, Clark grabs a fire extinguisher and charges down. But moments later, a massive swarm of alien creatures appears on the opposite side of the valley. Clark's daughter charges forward without hesitation, and Anisha's disobedient son follows right behind her. The poor mother tries to stop them, but it's too late. Far away at Coalition headquarters, the leader is making a global broadcast. She calls for everyone to look up at the sky in 3 minutes for a spectacular fireworks display. This marks the first shot in humanity's counteroffensive against the alien invaders. At the Research Institute, Yamato stares intently at the screen. The moment the frequency spike appears, she presses the button to initiate the hack. All over the world, people look up at the sky, confused, until massive alien ships begin to appear. The leader gives the order, and the prepared nuclear missiles all fly into the sky, exploding in a brilliant light show resembling a grand fireworks festival. As the colossal ships fall one by one, everyone erupts in cheers. In the valley, the alien creatures attacking Clark's group fall from the cliff like puppets with their strings cut. Clark's resistance fighters have their lives saved as a result, and his daughter and Anisha's children are safe. But when they return to their vehicles, Anisha discovers that her young daughter, who was left in the car, is gone. Meanwhile, with Rose's help, Trevathan has quietly escaped from the town jail. He plans to explore the alien secrets on his own and find the missing townspeople. At the Coalition base, an aide reports that the nuclear strike took down a total of 7 alien ships, marking their greatest victory ever. But the leader is worried, wondering if the aliens really retreat because of this, or if they will launch a retaliatory strike. Meanwhile, Jamila and her group are not taking any chances. They continue their journey towards Paris, convinced that Casper, who can connect with the aliens, is the key to saving the Earth. However, just outside the city, their path is blocked. Jamila anxiously runs to ask a soldier on guard, who tells her that a supply train from France has failed to arrive. They have just sent troops into the tunnel to investigate, which is why the entrance is sealed. Jamila wonders why the people around her are constantly looking up at the sky. She returns to the car and turns on the radio, only then learning that the coalition leader has ordered a counterattack against the aliens. But she is in no mood to watch any fireworks. She turns the car around and searches along the highway, eventually finding the sealed tunnel the military mentioned. Jamila reasons that since the train came from France, passing through the tunnel and following the railway tracks should lead them to their destination, Paris. The rational Monty questions if she's sure they should abandon their vehicle for a journey on foot. Jamila has already weighed the options. The fact that the train incident has drawn military attention means aliens are likely involved, and no one knows how long this road will be closed. The group soon finds a maintenance entrance and easily bypasses the soldiers on guard. Jamila is certain it connects to the main train tunnel. Suddenly, they hear gunshots and screams from outside. It seems the guards have been attacked. Her friends panic, wanting to turn back, but Jamila quickly stops them. She reminds them of their ultimate goal, to save the world. They need more courage than this. Her words ignite a fire in them. After a shared look, they resolutely walk deeper into the tunnel. Meanwhile, in a central Paris hospital, the ordinary patients, after the initial joy of the alien ships being destroyed, are now glued to their radios for updates. Unfortunately, there has been no further news from the aliens. A female doctor enters a heavily secured medical room where several children are undergoing tests, attempting to establish a special connection with the aliens. In the innermost bed lies the still comatose Casper. A medical co-worker believes he will never wake up, but the doctor refuses to give up. Based on his brain activity, Casper experiences seizures several times an hour, indicating he has not completely lost consciousness, but is rather in a state of prolonged stress and pain. By now, Jamila and her group have successfully reached the train tunnel, but they haven't walked far before they see the body of a soldier lying by the tracks. The gruesome wounds all over his body confirm he was killed by an alien creature. The sight turns their faces pale with fear. Suddenly, there is movement ahead. They look closely and see an alien creature slowly approaching. Monty tries to flee, but his ankle gets stuck in the railway tracks. Just as the alien creature extends its sharp spike, it inexplicably collapses. The children look at each other, wondering if the destruction of the ships has caused the ground-level aliens to lose their power. Suppressing their curiosity, they continue on, only to find a large number of dead alien creatures in a break room. They recall the coalition leaders' talk of a counterattack on the radio and wonder if humanity has truly defeated all the aliens. Just then, Jamila notices white ripples on the surface of the water in a sink. She tentatively places a water bottle in it and sees that it too vibrates slightly. Jamila understands this is due to resonance and guesses that the aliens are transmitting a signal, though to whom she doesn't know. The group packs their things and continues on, not noticing the white orbs of light flowing within the alien creatures' bodies. Perhaps they are not truly dead after all. Meanwhile, the doctor has also learned from online videos about the mass death of the alien creatures. Her colleagues think there is no need to continue their research. Only one young girl seems to sense something. Suddenly, the phone rings sharply. A neighboring hospital is requesting assistance. Just then, a cry is heard from the entrance. The doctor runs out to see that an ambulance has crashed into the hospital wall. Seeing the driver's abdomen bleeding profusely, the doctor shouts for a nurse to help, but the driver suddenly utters a chilling warning that they've become more terrifying. The doctor's eyes widen, suspecting if the alien retaliation is about to begin. At the same time, Jamila's group discovers more bodies. This is the tunnel workers' control room. It appears they tried to close the iron gate but failed. It's hard to imagine the nightmare that unfolded here. Suddenly, the little girl behind them begins to breathe heavily. She seems to sense something, her face full of worry as she stares into the depths of the tunnel. Everyone holds their breath, faintly hearing the roar of a beast. They immediately retreat and hastily shut the iron gate. Moments later, a pack of powerfully built beasts comes rushing towards them. The children shrink back in terror, wondering if the aliens had evolved into a new form. They are larger, and their strength and speed are even more astonishing. The young boy sprays fire through the gate, but it has no effect. The aliens' last remaining weakness has been overcome. The group quickly turns and retreats, but the creatures soon break through the iron gate. Fortunately, this section has another door. After hurriedly closing the heavy concrete door, they are temporarily safe from the aliens' pursuit. Meanwhile, the doctor also senses the impending danger and shouts for her colleagues to evacuate immediately because the aliens are coming. As for the comatose Casper, he must be taken with them at all costs. Jamila and her group are unaware that the person they are searching for is also in grave danger. They continue along the railway tracks. As they are about to exit the tunnel, they finally encounter the wrecked cargo train. Its destroyed front end has completely blocked the tunnel, forcing them to climb through the train cars to get past. It's clear this place was also attacked by aliens. Even the cars inside the cargo containers are mangled beyond recognition. The group splits up to gather some supplies. Jamila is filled with unease. It seems humanity's counterattack has failed again. Lost in thought, she falls asleep in one of the cars. Suddenly, she hears a familiar voice calling her name. Jamila gets off the train and is stunned to see Casper standing right in front of her. She thinks she's dreaming, but Casper tells her it's real. He explains that ever since he made contact with the aliens, he has felt himself being pulled by a mysterious force into their collective consciousness. He wants to break free and escape, but he fails every time. Jamila encourages him not to give up, promising she will find a way to save him. The two friends gently hold hands, and the feeling is incredibly real to Jamila. She urges everyone to leave immediately, as the aliens could catch up at any moment. And sure enough, the evolved aliens seem to have become smarter. Unable to get through the thick concrete door, they have found their way through the ventilation system. The group, moving through the train cars, hears the sounds behind them and quickens their pace. Soon, they pass the wrecked train, but as they are about to run out of the tunnel, they find the exit blocked by heavy sandbags. Fortunately, Monty notices that the walls are rigged with explosives. It seems someone outside is about to blow up the tunnel entrance. They all shout at the top of their chicken lungs. The soldiers outside the tunnel quickly hear them and call for their comrades to clear an opening. Jamila and her friends scramble towards the hole as if it were a lifeline. Monty, at the very back, is nearly caught by an alien creature but is saved at the last second. Once everyone is out of the tunnel, the waiting soldiers immediately detonate the explosives. A scorching blast of fire shoots into the sky. When the smoke clears, the tunnel entrance is a pile of rubble, and the pursuing aliens are sealed inside. The boy with glasses has injured his leg and has to be taken to a hospital by military vehicle. Jamila and her friends say their goodbyes and once again set off on their journey to Paris. Back at the Central Hospital in Paris, the floors are covered in bloodstains. It is clear the hospital was also attacked by aliens, and Casper, who was supposed to have been evacuated, is still lying in his bed, his face contorted in a painful struggle. It is clear he has not forgotten his promise to Jamila and is fighting to escape the aliens' mental world. As the resistance fighters finish dealing with the alien creatures, Anisha's daughter is discovered to be missing. They search the surrounding area and finally find 2 tire tracks on a small path. There's no doubt the little girl was most likely taken by the military. Anisha is stunned. She goes to examine the tracks and confirms from her daughter's footprints that their theory is correct. The only thing she can't understand is why the military would take a little girl. Anisha knows the reason but remains silent. Back at the base, a woman reports that while on watch the previous night, she saw several military vehicles heading south. A spark of hope ignites among them. Just 15 kilometers south of where the little girl disappeared is a military base. The girl was likely taken there. The bearded man suddenly flexes his messy beard and speaks up, reminding them that the road is often infested with alien monsters. He thinks it's not worth risking everyone's lives for one little girl. Clark cuts him off. After dismissing the others, he asks Anisha meaningfully why the military took her daughter. After much consideration, Anisha still doesn't tell him about the alien mineral shard she possesses that can harm the creatures. But she never imagined that her troublemaking son, out of guilt, would reveal the secret of the shard to Clark's daughter. Their conversation is overheard by the bearded man, who announces the news to everyone. He reveals that Anisha was carrying an alien mineral, which is why the military was after her, putting everyone in danger. Anisha's face turns pale, and she stands frozen at a loss for words. Unexpectedly, Clark steps in to defend her, claiming that Anisha had already told him but that the matter was so critical he had chosen to keep it secret. As the leader, Clark commands a great deal of respect and no one dares to challenge him further. The sudden crisis is averted, and Anisha looks at him with surprise and gratitude. The next morning, Clark leads the group toward the military camp. They have decided to help rescue Anisha's daughter after all. She sincerely thanks him, her wariness towards Clark finally gone. However, as they reach a forest, their path is shrouded in a thick fog, forcing them to slow down and drive in a single file line. Luke feels a strange sensation, as if a voice is calling to him, but no one else notices anything unusual. As their vehicle passes a deep pit, Luke's feeling intensifies. He clutches his head and shouts that they are coming. Anisha nervously looks around and sees a large number of alien hunters emerging from the woods. Clark orders everyone to speed up, but in the next moment, one of the vehicles is attacked. He commands the convoy to keep moving. Stopping to help now would only result in everyone being wiped out. As more and more of his comrades are lost, Luke clutches his head and screams no. Miraculously, the hunters on both sides of the road vanish. Clark, driving, hasn't even had a moment to breathe a sigh of relief before he crashes head-on into a car blocking the road. The occupants feel the world spin, and then everything goes black. When they regain consciousness, they find their car has overturned in the woods beside the road. Fortunately, Anisha and her family are uninjured, but Clark has a deep gash on his thigh. Anisha quickly uses a strap to apply a tourniquet. Months of constant running have made her proficient in various survival skills, and Clark can't help but be impressed. Just then, a rustling sound comes from the bushes. They all tense up, but thankfully it's not an alien but a resistance fighter on a search party. Clark breathes a sigh of relief. As darkness approaches, they know they must leave the forest as soon as possible. A large group moves cautiously through the fog, armed and on high alert. The silence is terrifying, and everyone's hearts are in their throats. Luke's mind once again hears the strange voice. Following his gaze, they see a clearing filled with alien spheres. As a beastly roar echoes, the alien hunters reappear. Clark gives the order to retreat, but conventional bullets can't penetrate their armored hides. The fighters at the rear of the group are instantly killed. They run for their shitty lives and finally reach their vehicles, only to realize that Anisha hasn't kept up. She had fallen behind while helping a young girl who had been left alone. Now, she is cornered by a hunter. Even after emptying her clip, the creature is unscathed. The resistance fighters watch in terror. Just then, Luke suddenly jumps out, instantly drawing the monster's attention. As it gets closer, Luke lets out a loud shout. Incredibly, the alien monster freezes in place. Anisha quickly helps her limp son up and gets him into a nearby pickup truck. Although the alien monster snaps out of it, it's too late to catch them. It seems that, like the boy Casper, Luke also possesses the ability to command alien creatures. Perhaps this is a crucial key to humanity's victory over the alien invasion. Meanwhile, at the alien ship research facility, Nikhil is under immense pressure. Although his plan destroyed several alien ships, it triggered a furious retaliation from evolved aliens that are now immune even to fire. Nikhil is privately cursing his luck, but has to maintain a brave face, promising he will soon find a way to deal with them. All his hopes now rest on the scientist Yamato, and she is indeed delivering. Since her last encounter with the alien energy entity, she has felt it is transmitting information to the outside world, but the lab's equipment cannot capture the signal's transmission method. Yamato believes this is a deliberate concealment by the aliens. The others don't question her theory, but instead ponder how to expose the hidden information. An idea strikes Yamato. Perhaps they can try to provoke it. Putting her idea into action, she begins looking for ways to anger the alien creature. The birds she saw outside give her a clue. Birds only fly in circles when the Earth's magnetic field changes. Yamato speculates that the aliens are likely connected to the Earth's magnetic field. A bold idea is born. She has several magnetic field disruptors installed near the alien energy entity. At first, it shows no reaction, but the moment the disruptors are activated, the once blue orb turns a fiery red. In the next moment, a piercing shriek echoes through the lab, and everyone present clutches their ears. As Yamato increases the interference frequency, the red energy mass actually begins to speak with a human voice. It seems the entity is terrified of the magnetic interference. Yamato opportunely turns off the disruptors. Her eyes widen, for the entity has now taken on a human form. She can't help but ask why they invaded Earth. The entity quickly replies that it was because humanity hurt them first. It then merges back into the orb of light. At this point, Yamato is completely shaken because the voice the entity used was that of her long-dead lover. Yamato can't resist reaching out to touch it, but the entity tells her to remove the signal-blocking glove. Without a second thought, she does as she's told. In the control room, the researchers who witness this are stunned. At first, they only heard Yamato talking to herself, and now she has removed her glove. It's clear she has been enthralled by the alien entity. As Yamato's brainwaves begin to fluctuate violently, they realize something is wrong and immediately activate emergency measures, forcefully pulling Yamato out. The health specialist Maya rushes to check on her. Fortunately, Yamato hasn't lost consciousness, and a subsequent physical exam reveals no abnormalities. Anxious, Nikhil asks Yamato if she can continue working, but Maya is furious. She pulls Nikhil aside and demands to know if he thinks Yamato's trembling arm looks fine. She asks if he wants their only hope to end up like the other catatonic scientists. Nikhil dares not say anything more, but Yamato insists she is fine and that she must go back to face the alien. The entity's imitation of her lover was too real. It even knew about their shared memories. Soon, a fully suited-up Yamato once again stands before the alien light. This time, the entity is more direct, telling her to remove her protective helmet. Yamato does so without hesitation. As the orb's tendril slowly approaches, she feels as if she is on a sun-drenched beach. Seeing a young girl playing happily nearby, Yamato understands she has entered her lover's childhood memories. A voice in her head tells her that this was her happiest time and asks Yamato to let go of everything and stay with her. Yamato's face shows a look of longing, her lips slightly parted as if about to agree. The researchers in the lab are extremely tense, as Yamato's brain activity has reached its limit. Just as they are considering whether to pull her out, a sharp-eyed male colleague notices something extraordinary. Yamato's hand is not trembling randomly, but is transmitting a message in Morse code. Translated, it reads, "Increase interference." It turns out, Yamato's behavior in the illusion was all a pretense. Everyone instantly understands her plan. While the alien light is focused on dealing with Yamato, they immediately turn the disruptors to maximum power. The illusory space Yamato is in instantly freezes. The alien light, as if enraged, once again lets out a piercing shriek, but it quickly shrinks to the size of a fingernail dot. It seems this is the alien's true form. Stripped of all its disguises, not only is its true form revealed, but the signal it emits is also fully captured by their monitoring equipment. Upon waking, Yamato eagerly plays the recording and is astonished to find that she can understand its meaning. With further study, she is certain she can engage in a dialogue with the aliens. The scene shifts to the once top scientists. After delving into the study of the alien energy entity, all ended up in their current catatonic state. Their bodies tremble from time to time, which most assume is an involuntary muscle reaction. But Yamato has a different theory. As the only person to have made contact with the entity and remained lucid, she is convinced that the aliens are constantly communicating with the outside world in a special language. As Yamato attempts to decipher and master this alien language, she notices that the catatonic scientist's physical movements bear a striking resemblance to the frequency of the alien language. She wondered if the scientists could have been communicating in the alien language all along. Nikhil can't take it anymore. He questions the validity of her analysis and asks, even if she masters their language, can she really persuade them to stop their invasion? Yamato's face darkens. Her scientific mindset has led her down a rabbit hole. The most important thing now is to find the alien's weakness and deliver a fatal blow. Meanwhile, in Idabel County, Trevathan is working with the police assistant Rose to uncover alien secrets. Their first target is naturally the cornfield, where numerous residents have disappeared. Trevathan notices many crows circling in a spiral pattern in the sky. Brushing away the dead leaves, he finds the ground beneath is trembling slightly, indicating the presence of an extremely strong magnetic field. He suddenly feels as if he is being watched, but a search of the area reveals nothing. Back at their lodgings, they review their clues. Rose has marked the locations of the disappearances on a map. The more Trevathan looks at it, the more familiar it seems. When he connects all the points, they form a line that perfectly matches the spiral pattern from Casper's sketchbook. He believes the center of the vortex must hold special significance, so the two set out again, following the map into a vast cornfield, only to find it has already been sealed off by soldiers. Trevathan isn't discouraged. This only confirms that a huge secret is hidden at the center of the spiral. The two cautiously move forward. The guard presence here is several times denser than in other areas, making a stealthy approach nearly impossible. In the center of the clearing is a massive circular pit, with soldiers constantly taking readings around it. Hiding in the shadows, Trevathan is dying of curiosity. To solve the mystery, he decides he must get inside no matter what. The scene shifts. A convoy of military vehicles returning to base is blocked by a flock of crows. The lead soldier gets out and fires into the air to scare them off. Trevathan seizes the opportunity, quickly getting up and sliding under the chassis of the last vehicle in the convoy. At the same time, Anisha's group, having successfully broken through the alien monster blockade, finally arrives near the military camp. Her daughter is most likely inside. However, faced with a massive number of military guards, the bearded man in the resistance group gets cold feet. He argues that risking everyone's lives to save one person is a bad trade. Clark firmly supports Anisha, and she has her own reasons. The belief that no one gets left behind is what holds the resistance together, and that's more important than a few lives. With their resolve solidified, the group begins to plan. They need a foolproof strategy to rescue someone from a military camp. In the next moment, Luke slowly approaches the sentry post, claiming he is sick and needs immediate medical attention. After successfully luring the guards away, the hidden resistance fighters emerge and take control of the camp entrance. Luke quickly runs into the guardhouse and sounds the alarm. Anisha drives up at high speed, not stopping for anything, and heads straight for the center of the camp. The commotion quickly attracts the attention of all the soldiers. As they converge on Anisha, the arriving resistance fighters swiftly take them all down. Anisha immediately finds the commanding officer to ask about her daughter's whereabouts, but he's a stubborn one, claiming it's all classified military information and he would rather die than talk. He then starts taunting Clark and his group, saying that if most of the soldiers weren't out fighting aliens, they would never have been able to take the camp. Anisha ignores him. She sees her daughter's writing on a small bed, confirming she was here. She then pulls out a vial of isopropyl alcohol from a cabinet, stating that a small injection is lethal and not even God could save him. Feeling the chilling murderous intent from Anisha, the officer finally panics. He quickly tells them that her daughter was taken to the Idabel town. Anisha is confused, not understanding why the military would do this. The officer explains that it's where it all began. Meanwhile, Trevathan has successfully infiltrated the military camp. Hiding in a pile of junk, he happens to see several soldiers leading Anisha's daughter out of a military vehicle. One of them is carefully carrying the alien mineral shard into a hidden room, but Trevathan has no time for that. Waiting until nightfall, he easily takes out a few guards and quietly makes his way to the pit, quickly climbing down the ladder. However, upon reaching the bottom, he discovers another entrance leading even deeper. As he is about to open the hatch and go in, a large number of guards suddenly appear and capture the unlucky Trevathan. The soldiers escort him to a secret lab. As he passes through a corridor, Trevathan sees a room full of people with expressionless faces. These are the missing residents of the town, but he has no time to investigate. He is soon taken to an interrogation room. Due to his status as a retired soldier, Trevathan is granted some privileges and gets to meet the base's top commander directly. He eagerly asks what happened to the missing residents. The commander explains that they were all taken by aliens but were later rescued by the military. As for how, that is classified. Seeing the commander is about to leave, Trevathan quickly offers to help explore the alien secrets. The commander shakes his head, saying he has no need for a soldier who doesn't follow orders. Elsewhere, Jamila and her group in search of Casper have finally reached Paris. Unfortunately, its former glory is long gone. In a corner of a street, the walls are covered with missing person photos. Jamila's heart aches. Each photo here represents a broken family. Thinking about the dangers of their own journey, they all find scraps of paper to write on. If something were to happen to them, it would be a final message for their families. After posting their notes on the wall, the group quickens their pace and soon arrives at the central hospital. To their dismay, the place is in ruins, with the bodies of several soldiers lying on the ground. It was clearly attacked by aliens. Jamila feels a pang of sorrow. It seems Casper isn't here. As they stand there, lost, a faint sound comes from a corner. They quickly move towards it and are stunned to see Casper drawing on the wall. The friends embrace excitedly. To be reunited in a deserted hospital is nothing short of a miracle. Casper is just as confused. He was awakened by the alien creatures. Everyone else in the hospital is either dead or has fled. Only Casper was spared. Looking at the drawings on the wall, he remembers that there were other children in his ward who were like him. They were most likely taken by the military. Jamila isn't concerned about that. She asks how to defeat the aliens. Casper has no specific plan, but he can vaguely sense the location of his fellow psychics in his mind. Perhaps uniting with them is the key to defeating the aliens. Jamila decides they should set out to find the children who were taken. Although their destination isn't far, they will have to cross many dangerous areas. The constant threat of alien monsters makes their journey perilous. Fortunately, with Casper's powers to guide them, they manage to get through critical moments. After a long journey of a day and a night, the group finally arrives at an underground bunker. Casper is certain the special children are inside, and he's right. On the other side of a wall, in a sealed room, several children who are drawing simultaneously look up. They seem to have sensed Casper's arrival as well. The moment the two groups meet, everyone stares in amazement. This kind of legendary telepathy is beyond scientific explanation. However, the aliens' hiding place is too abstract, and they can't pinpoint its exact location. But this time, with Casper leading them, the children feel as if they have found their anchor. They begin to meticulously draw what they see in their minds onto paper. The researchers nearby are ecstatic, believing that it won't be long before they find the aliens' hiding place. Back at the research base, Yamato is preparing to engage in a battle of wits with the alien energy entity. Suddenly, a system alert indicates a malfunction in her custom-made protective suit. Nikhil is furious. He immediately confronts Maya and demands to know if she deliberately damaged Yamato's equipment. Maya readily admits it. In Yamato's current mental state, communicating with the entity again could cause permanent damage. But Nikhil is also under immense pressure. If he can't find a way to defeat the aliens soon, his research institute will be taken over by the World Coalition. Maya, defiant, asks if he's willing to disregard Yamato's life and tells him if he's so brave, he should go himself. Not long after, the base's alarms blare. Yamato senses something is wrong and rushes to the control room, only to learn that Nikhil has actually gone to face the alien entity himself. He is now in a state of madness, having turned the electromagnetic interference to its maximum level. The entire research facility begins to shake violently. Not only that, but the military base where Trevathan is and the underground bunker where Casper is all descend into chaos. Nikhil's reckless action has triggered major earthquakes in over a dozen locations. At the research institute, Yamato realizes this cannot continue. She rushes in to confront the alien energy entity. When it tries to forcefully merge with her, she cranks the electromagnetic interference to maximum. The sudden blow deals a heavy blow to the entity, and a world-threatening disaster is averted. But the World Coalition dares not let its guard down. They believe the earthquake zones that appeared are likely where the alien ships are hiding, just undiscovered. Nikhil demands to speak with Yamato at the Research Institute immediately. Maya shakes her head helplessly since Yamato's mental state is too fragile, and she is no longer fit for any work. And indeed, Yamato is now in a trance-like state. Her close encounter with the entity has given her a glimpse of the source of the alien signal, but her body is overwhelmed, and she can't even hold a small pencil. Maya urges Yamato to rest, but she refuses to give up. If she can find the entrance to the signal's source, they might be able to wipe out the alien invaders in one fell swoop. Looking at the birds circling in the sky, Yamato believes all alien creatures are interconnected through a signal. A bold idea comes to her. If she connects herself to this network, she can find the entrance to the source. On the other side, Casper has the same idea. He says that during the earthquake, he sensed a bright pillar of light. Perhaps that is the location of the alien nest. Casper and the other children have already pieced together a fragmented map, a rough location of the alien lair based on their telepathic senses. But finding the entrance to the nest is still difficult. Casper decides to enter his dream state again for a deep connection with the aliens. Meanwhile, Yamato recalls the alien entity's lure. If she opens her mind and allows the information to flow into her brain, she can connect to the network. Without hesitation, Yamato slowly closes her eyes. Red veins of light appear, like the hub of a universal network. The next moment, she finds herself in a strange space, with walls glowing with a faint blue light. As she curiously reaches out to touch them, streams of information flow out. While she is still in awe, Yamato suddenly sees a figure in the distance. She quickly goes to investigate and is stunned to see it's Casper, who has just arrived. He explains that every time he connects, he comes to this place, which is like a central hub connecting all individual alien creatures. The giant pillar of light in the center must be the location of the alien hive. The next moment, they both return to reality. Casper immediately contacts the head of the World Coalition and relays his discovery. Now, with Yamato's help, he is confident he can find the real-world entrance to the alien hive. If they send troops to destroy it, they can surely repel the alien invasion for good. Meanwhile, Anisha has finally learned from the captured officer that her daughter was sent to the military base in Idabel County. Clark resolutely decides they must rescue her, no matter the cost. What neither of them knows is that the base researchers are most interested in the mineral shard the little girl carries, which can kill the alien monsters. At that moment, a military vehicle slowly approaches the checkpoint in Idabel County. The truck is filled with resistance fighters disguised as soldiers. With the help of the checkpoint commander, they successfully pass through. Now, they must figure out how to break into the base and rescue the girl. Luke is certain his sister is nearby. He can already sense the presence of the mineral shard. The resistance fighters begin throwing grenades to create a diversion. The guards in the base hear the noise and rush into the cornfield to investigate. Clark and his team, waiting nearby, easily take out the few remaining guards and blast open the door to the secret lab. The underground space is unexpectedly huge. Before they can find the girl, they first discover the imprisoned Trevathan and Rose. When he learns of Anisha's mission, he quickly says he has seen Anisha's daughter and can lead them to her. With no direct conflict of interest, Anisha decisively frees them. Trevathan guesses that the little girl is likely in the infirmary, but on the way they encounter fierce resistance from the base's guards. He takes a weapon from Anisha, saying he will draw fire here while she goes to rescue her daughter. Unfortunately, she is a step too slow. Her daughter has already been moved. Anisha follows the trail and finally spots her. She fires her weapon to create a distraction and takes the opportunity to run and reunite with her daughter. But just as they escape the underground lab, they are surrounded by countless guns aimed at their heads. Elsewhere, after shaking off his pursuers, Trevathan immediately goes to the corridor at the entrance. When he was first captured, he saw that many of the missing townspeople were being held here. And sure enough, the group is still sitting there, motionless. Rose's eyes widen in disbelief at the sight of her neighbors, the very people she has been desperately searching for. Trevathan knows these people were taken by the aliens, but doesn't understand why they would suddenly appear in the pit. Rescuing them now is nearly impossible. It's best to return to town first. As they are leaving the room, Trevathan suddenly stops. He hears a very familiar voice. Striding into the conference hall, he freezes on the spot. On the screen is Casper's face. Casper is equally surprised. The two of them once fought aliens together. The base commander is about to order Trevathan's capture when Casper quickly interrupts, stating that this man saved his life. Trevathan feels it was all fated. He found this place by following Casper's sketchbook, and now that Casper has found the entrance to the alien hive, he must be the one to go in for the final battle. But the coalition leader flatly refuses. This mission is too critical to send in a soldier who doesn't follow orders. Meanwhile, the resistance fighters, having failed in their rescue attempt, learn from a captured radio that the military is about to attack the alien hive. They decide to retreat and not get in the way at this crucial moment. Luke seems to sense something. He steps outside to concentrate, and then his eyes fly open. He senses a massive number of alien monsters converging on the town, most likely to protect the hive entrance. As they debate whether to go and help, the coalition soldiers surround them. In a panic, Luke runs out, and with a forceful clench of his fist, he manages to make an alien creature reveal itself. Clark quickly steps forward to explain that the boy has the ability to control the aliens and suggests they stop their infighting and face the common enemy together. The next moment, Luke is leading the soldiers and the resistance to the nearby town. There's no need for Casper's guidance now. The place with the highest concentration of alien monsters is likely the hive entrance. Sure enough, a massive explosion rocks the area, and all the alien creatures reveal themselves. The soldiers open fire to suppress them, and Trevathan grabs grenades from the ground and starts throwing them. Luke activates his control ability again, and the special children in the bunker join in, dealing a heavy blow to the frenzied alien monsters. At the same time, in the alien research lab, Yamato closes her eyes again, emptying her mind. She has connected to the hive entrance and can see what is happening in the town. Her next task is to release a signal to make the hive entrance take physical form. Days of signal research have not been in vain. Yamato successfully makes the hive entrance appear before everyone. This level of energy is far beyond what Luke can control. As his mother is about to step forward, Clark shields her and gets her to safety. Now, it's time for the Special Forces team. Dressed in special protective suits and holding fragments of the mineral, they stride confidently into the hive entrance. Perhaps the months-long war for Earth's survival will end at the hands of these three. But in the next moment, the red and black energy vortex begins to vibrate violently, and the three soldiers who just stepped in are thrown back. At the research institute, Yamato's brow furrows, and she collapses to the ground in pain. She says she can't control the entrance unless she erases all her memories and completely empties her mind. The health specialist Maya knows this means Yamato will become a living dead with no thoughts of her own. But she doesn't try to stop her, because this may be humanity's last chance. Back in the town, Trevathan finally gets his chance to fight. He unhesitatingly removes the protective suit from one of the Special Forces soldiers. The base commander no longer objects and hands him a piece of the mineral. Perhaps it was fated all along that Trevathan would be the one to end it all. As he strides into the hive entrance, the red and black vortex remains stable. It's clear that Yamato has successfully stabilized the portal, but the price she paid is immense. As she falls unconscious, the hive entrance once again vanishes from sight. Fortunately, Trevathan has successfully reached the hub space. He tests the mineral shard. It is indeed effective against the alien energy. Then, a familiar figure appears behind him. It's Casper, who has been waiting for him. At this point, no words are needed. The two partners team up once again and walk together towards the central hive. This concludes the second season of Invasion. Whether humanity will ultimately defeat the alien monsters is a question that will likely have to wait for a third season to be answered. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.